And we have other distinguished guests from Lesotho who are going to be planting Jatropha in Lesotho. Scary to me, that is, because Jatropha doesn't like the frost. But these chaps have identified north-facing slopes, of which don't get frost. And we've got approval to plant those trees in Lesotho, which is a fantastic opportunity to the farmer base there, because they've been having a few problems in Lesotho of late with a few drought, a few dry spells. And as you know, this Jatropha tree is a bit hardy, and it can stand the time of that, stand the test of time on that drought issue. Ghana, next to me here, we're doing quite well up there actually. We're clearing 500 hectares of land a month, and we're planting 2,160 trees per hectare, and we're planting 500 hectares a month. So it's a lot of trees we're planting there. The programme's going awfully well. We created nearly 3,000 jobs in the last 3 months there to be doing this. That's the kind of programme we're involved in. Come back to Madagascar, which myself and Philip fly up tomorrow, and we're very honoured as well to have the deputy here today from Madagascar. Sorry, this light's in the way and I can't see. I know you're in there somewhere. We go to Madagascar tomorrow. In Madagascar, we have 17,000 hectares of Jatropha planted. Not land clearing, not little seedlings in, trees. Right? Approximately 2,000 trees per hectare. In Madagascar, they use this tree as a living pole, right? For the vanilla pods to climb up. It's a ladder, right? So they use this, and I asked them, why do you use Jatropha of all trees? They said it's a hardy tree, we don't have to look after it. It takes the water from lower in the ground than what our vanilla pods do. And it shields the vanilla pod in bad weather. Fantastic. What do you do with the Jatropha seeds at the moment? What seeds? The seeds are on the tree. Nothing. We have no use. We're creating a commercial use for that. Right? This is an additional income to these farmers at no extra cost, and it's already there. This is great programs we're venturing into here. I'm not going to mention too much about the program behind us with D1 Care. Johan will be up later to emphasize that. And we're proud to announce that D1 have partnered with a group here, and I can see the chaps here from Flexi Tanks. We've identified a great storage opportunity with logistics and storage using these innovative supplying tanks, rubber tanks we can put in 20-foot containers to ship things around pretty quickly, pretty easily, static storage tanks in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of Africa. This is a great coup for D1 for Africa. We all know the transport logistic problems faced in the country. Having said all that, I think I'm there now. I'd very much like Joe to come to the stage. Joe Moller, ladies and gentlemen, from the chairman of D1 Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Adam. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased my job has been made so much easier by the speakers that have come before me. They have told you everything about D1 oils. I was going to tell you which countries we are in Africa, and Adam has just done that. I think I'll now come down the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a lot of friends in here who know about me. The part they don't know, Adam is this former High Commissioner of Lesotho. The part they know about me is that I used to work for a big company called BHP Billiton. I was very, very pleased with myself to be working for that company. But I need to say genuinely that I'm extremely excited to be associated with the not so big D1 oils. But you've heard, not so long ago, 6 months ago, the share was £1.65. Today the share is £2.80. So I think it's moving in the right direction. Maybe it will be that big one of these days. But what is even more exciting for me, as far as this particular company is concerned, is that is what was mentioned first by Philip, the poverty alleviation programs. I think this particular company actually addresses some of the most critical areas in Africa, that is poverty, unemployment, land degradation. Now, as it was said, you can see that these trees are being grown in the rural areas. They therefore create employment where it is needed most, in the rural areas. And guess who actually harvests these trees? People that need employment most, the women. But these trees, also, we are very, very careful that they don't go into the areas where we need to be growing food. This will be grown in those areas that have suffered. When I think of my own country, Lesotho, those of you who have seen that country know that it has suffered badly from soil erosion. And I'm saying to these colleagues of mine who come from there, do you think the areas that you have identified are those areas that have been depleted by soil erosion? And that they tell me, yes, this is exactly what they have in mind. This is extremely exciting to me. I just want to end up by saying, I hope the friends that we have here will join us on this journey to grow this company, D1 Oils. I'm very proud to be a member of the company. I hope you too are to be associated with it. Thank you very much.
These are very short and sweet, aren't they? This is going quite well, actually. Next up on stage, if I'm not mistaken, is Johan van der Berg. Johan's been at a conference for the last couple of days in reflection to the Kyoto Protocol and the carbon credits, clean air credits, etc. And he's here to explain a little bit more about that today, because I know it's all in the news, but it'd be nice to hear it from someone that knows what they're talking about. Johan van der Berg, thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for the opportunity, Adam. I asked Adam before we started, I said, well, you know, it's difficult to explain Kyoto Protocol and CDM in 5 minutes, and he agreed with me. So what I'm going to do is just to touch on the basics and tell you how that fits into what D1 are going to be doing. This morning at 7 o'clock South African time, the Kyoto Protocol entered force after about 8 years of hard slog from various people, and after many crises where people said, well, isn't going to happen, is it not going to happen, and so forth. It's basically an international convention aimed at addressing climate change. It follows on the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, and it contains binding targets for developed countries who have to now limit their emissions by 2012 to an average of about 5.2% below 1990 levels. These developed countries have the option to either then do something at home, like legislate their own industries, or to invest in a project in a place like South Africa, cause a reduction in emissions or a soaking up sort of a carbon zinc like a tree. In other words, taking away pollution in a developing country and then going through a process through which you can accredit what you've done in South Africa and then book in that certificate in Europe as if you had done something at home. So very, very shortly, I always refer to it as if you don't have the time or the money to make your own bed, go and make somebody else's bed elsewhere. And that is the CDM. It's Article 12 of the Kyoto Protocol. It enables you to really move your emission abatement efforts to another country. Then from the developer of any project's point of view, there are two sources of income. The one source of income is your operational income. So if you are manufacturing biodiesel, your main source of income will be in selling that biodiesel. But through this Kyoto mechanism, you now have an additional potential source of income, the so-called carbon finance component, which means that if you are causing greenhouse gas emissions to disappear or to not happen, you can be issued with a certified emissions reduction, a so-called CER, which you can sell on the international market to somebody who has an obligation to limit their emissions. The advantage of this is, you can imagine that I first met Adam and the other people from D1 a good 2 years ago, and what you see here today is the product of a lot of hard work. It looks like it just falls out of the sky, but trust me, it doesn't. And a lot of these projects take not only a lot of work, but a lot of money. they're not equally profitable in all countries, and often there are capacity and other problems that you have to overcome. So the CDM is a mechanism which provides you with that certain portion of extra income to make your investment more viable, make sure that it actually happens. CDM Africa, briefly, is a company, Cape Town based, of which I'm the CEO, which has been set up to provide an end-to-end advisory service on how to create these carbon credits or certified emissions reduction. So it was a very logical and pleasing joint venture for us to come together with D1 Oils, where we would provide the technical expertise on how to create these carbon credits, and D1 Oils obviously are going to be having these projects where it is possible to create these credits. So what you see behind me, really, I cannot explain it much better than that. We're going to be doing this together. We're setting up this new company called D1 Care, and we will then start to look at how we can use the CDM, the Clean Development Mechanism, to augment the income, the operating income that D1's projects would make anyway, and how we can make that investment decision just that little bit easier, especially in the marginal instances. The advantage is once you have established the methodology for doing this and gone through the rigorous, difficult, expensive process of having it accredited internationally, that same methodology is applicable to any other country. So if what we do in South Africa or in Malawi or in Ghana works, we can roll it out to all the other countries where D1 is actually active. So I'm very proud to be associated with this initiative, and I see good things happening to it in the future. Thank you very much.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching this film in silent mode, clicking by with some handsome chap on it. What I think we should do is pack it in. Right? What I think we should do is actually show this small 3-minute film. Hopefully, it will become apparent exactly end to end what we're looking to do. After the film, which we won't bore you with, it's 3 minutes. We can have some questions and answers. Hopefully, we can answer most things. And then the idea is to help yourself to a little buffet, have a drink. We also have a small clip at the end of this, which was thought was a fun idea at the time, but now with all you lot standing around, I'm a bit worried about showing it. What it is a 2-minute skit of all the mistakes we made. So it should be longer than 2 minutes, because it took us hours to get this 3-minute video. It took us actually hours. So we'll watch this. Thank you very much.